Today we're going to be talking about remakes or possible revivals of game series. These are games that haven't been seen in a while that I personally think need a reboot or a revival. This is an unscripted video and there's no particular order to the list. Small disclosure, these are games that I personally would like to be remade. With that small intro out of the way, I hope you enjoyed the video. The first game I have on my list here is Drakengard from 2003, known in Japan as Dragon Dragoon. Is it Drakengard or Drakengard? Dragoon? At any rate, without this game we wouldn't have gems like Nier, the original, Nier Replicant, the remake, and Nier Automata. Yes, it's pronounced Nier Automata. Pronunciation aside, Drakengard is a game that de-glorifies the romanticism of knightlyhood. In this game you play as the knight Kaim. You follow him throughout his adventure to save his sister. And without giving away too much, you just need to play through the game. I feel like a few things can be tweaked in the remake, maybe even have Platinum Games work on it to make it more akin to something like a Nier Replicant or a Nier Automata. The game could definitely use some polishing when it comes to the combat system. The original gameplay felt a little bit like a cross between Dynasty Warriors and Ace Combat when it came to the dragon flying sections. It really wasn't a big issue for me. I enjoy where I am up to in the game right now, but the graphics can definitely, obviously, have a facelift. As far as the soundtrack goes, I would keep the droning music because it adds to the theme of the game. But if they can do a reorchestration of the soundtrack, that would be great too. And the last sweet short note on Drakengard the remake, what I would like from it, or maybe it's not so short, remake Drakengard 1, 2, and 3. 3 has not been re-released in any shape or form, and it plays like trash on the PS3. Come on Square, there's money to be made. One more thing, keep all of the endings of Drakengard 1 and 2. Final Fantasy VIII came out in 1999. I didn't play the original one on PS1, but I finally got around to playing it in 2019. I really wanted to care about the world building. I wanted to care about the characters and the combat system. But on top of not understanding the junction system, the ins and outs of it, the story also left a lot to be desired. For me at least. I did a completely blind playthrough, and after a certain point, the story kinda just fell off for me. I felt like the flashbacks with Laguna could have been fleshed out a little bit more, and tied in a little bit more with Squall's story. So in a remake, I would like them to give the characters more life, as well as revamping the junction system. Obviously, the graphics can use some upgrades, something similar to Final Fantasy VII Remake or Rebirth. One other tiny gripe that I have, I don't want to stay on Final Fantasy VIII too long, is to have a choice between Rinoa or Quistis, because in my original playthrough I went with Quistis, not Rinoa. All it did was cause confusion when it came to the story, because to me, spoiler alert I guess, Squall falls in love unconditionally with Rinoa. But in my playthrough of Final Fantasy VIII, Rinoa was nowhere near my party, so all I had to go off of was those cutscenes where you don't really have a choice but to be with Rinoa. I don't know, it just felt really rushed. Squall and the party are going on adventures and Rinoa's just trying to tag along. That's what it felt like playing it for the first time. As for the soundtrack, I would just make reorchestrations of the regular soundtrack because Final Fantasy VIII has some really good music. All eyes are on Square. Make it happen. Now, I don't know if this is actually happening or not due to leaks, but Final Fantasy IX needs a remake. 9 was the last Final Fantasy game Hironobu Sakaguchi produced before leaving Square and creating Mistwalker. And when I played it, I saw it as a send-off to the old JRPG style, from its quirky writing, its character stories, and its combat. Final Fantasy IX is one of my favorite Final Fantasy games to date. Now, what could it use in a possible remake? Surprisingly for me, it really wouldn't be enhanced visuals, seeing that Final Fantasy IX had a really unique art style to it. I would say spruce up the graphics to where they're at least bravely default to quality, perhaps redraw or redo the pre-rendered backgrounds. I am a sucker for pre-rendered backgrounds. Probably update the menu interface a little bit and call it a day in the graphics department. What I would like to see most changed about a remake of Final Fantasy IX would be the battle system and how slow it moves. Perhaps even add more mechanics to the turn-based battle system. At the time of recording this, I've recently picked up Fantasian Neo Dimension, and just when I thought they have ran the turn-based system into the ground by overusing it, Sakaguchi continues to bring creative ideas to the table when it comes to combat. So yeah, probably just revamp the Final Fantasy IX battle system, make it go a little faster. As for the soundtrack, they could reorchestrate it and give players the option to switch between the reorchestrated tracks and the original soundtrack. The closest thing we have to a remake of Final Fantasy IX is the Meguri mod for the PC version of Final Fantasy IX, and it's most definitely worth a download. The mod is very good, giving new and old players new experiences. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Another addition to a remake of Final Fantasy IX would be adding Beatrix to your party. At the least, they could make her an optional yet permanent party member, similar to that of Zelos and Kratos from Tales of Symphonia. I feel like Beatrix, Freya, and Amarant, especially Amarant, are highly underutilized in the game story, and I think those characters can use more love. Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty from 2001. So my mindset around this one is that we're getting a Snake Eater remake, and I for one am tired of just getting an up-resed version of the original PS2 version. Who wouldn't want to see Solid Snake sneak around in Unreal Engine 5? In fact, I would really like them to remake Metal Gear 1 and 2 back from the MSX and Nintendo days. I mean, it would only make sense. Like, just recreate both of them from the ground up. I would love to relive Snake's first few missions when he was working for Big Boss in Outer Heaven. Definitely cast David Hayter as Snake again. Come on, Konami, you already gave us Silent Hill 2 remake. The Metal Gear series needs to come full circle after the whole Phantom Pain incident. So yeah, remake Metal Gear 1 and Metal Gear 2 with the technology of today, and without a doubt, I'm sure it would be pretty good.
That's disgusting.
Capcom, what the hell happened to Dino Crisis? I guess they thought ever since they sent dinosaurs to space, they stopped making the games. Now hear me out. Remember how they remade Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, and 4? Yeah, just do that with Dino Crisis. Now me, in my humble opinion, I can do without the over-the-shoulder camera angle. But if Dino Crisis could get a visual upgrade, even if it's just Dino Crisis 1, I would buy that day one. Dino Crisis, for you all who don't know, it's pretty much Resident Evil with dinosaurs, which I personally think is even scarier than zombies. With gameplay much like the classic Resident Evil, it's a survival horror masterpiece which involves resource management and cautious navigation through corridors and avoiding deadly dinosaur ambushes. Dino Crisis 1 and 2 are overdue for a remake. If you made it this far into the video, I wanted to say thank you. It really means a lot to us. Taking a small break just to reiterate my disclosure in the beginning. I don't think these games are going to be remade or rebooted anytime soon, but here they are. The Jak and Daxter series. Jak and Daxter was probably the first 3D platformer I owned as a kid. Its innovative world design without having loading screens resulted in the ultimate freedom with the game being made in 2001. I don't think they'll be able to recreate this feeling of the first 3 Jak games, but it will be a pleasure to see Naughty Dog do something that isn't The Last of Us. Really all the Jak games would need is a graphical boost. As far as level design goes, I wouldn't change a single thing about each of the original games, not even Jak 2. We had the Crash games and we had the Spyro games get a reimagine, and now I think it's Jak's time to shine. Sonic Adventure 1 and Sonic Adventure 2 are in dire need of remakes. Now that the Sonic franchise is in good standing, with the release of Sonic Frontiers, the 3 Sonic movies, and Sonic Shadow Generations doing well, I believe we're ready for a remake of Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. If they were to just tweak the controls ever so slightly on Sonic Adventure 1 and Sonic Adventure 2, the game would sell like hotcakes. They don't need to go overboard with the graphics department, but of course Sonic Team needs to pay attention to the visuals of the game. I'm sure that fans are tired of seeing the same Sonic 3D model. The game should have all new models based on the original Sonic Adventure 1 and Sonic Adventure 2 models. One mechanic I would change would be the treasure hunting mechanics in Sonic Adventure 2. You all know what I'm talking about. The treasure hunting radar should go off whenever an emerald is near you, more akin to Sonic Adventure 1. Another thing I would revamp are the mech stages with Dr. Eggman and Tails. I'm not a big fan of the over-the-shoulder third-person view angle, but this would work perfectly for the mech stages. Naturally, I wouldn't do much with the soundtrack, seeing that it was probably one of the best Sonic soundtracks. A few remixes here and there. Hey, maybe even throw in some new ones. Which reminds me, I wonder if Sega and Hunted P actually squashed their beef. I would love to hear more of Knuckles' stage themes. The very core of the Sonic Adventure games 1 and 2 were speed. That being said, I don't think I would change much about the so-called bugs in the game. Players should be able to use and spam the spin dash in Sonic Adventure 1, as well as in 2. Also, Sonic Team and Sega, no one likes the long pauses between homing attacks. And the last big chunk of the game is the Chow Garden. The Chow Garden was a virtual pet simulator that back in Sonic Adventure DX and Sonic Adventure 2 Battle for the GameCube linked up with the link cables for the GBA or Game Boy Advance. It makes all the sense in the world to me. The possibilities would be endless. Chow racing and Chow karate. Just imagine taking your own Chow online to compete. I don't know, this kinda sounds like a no-brainer to me. If Sega were to integrate the Chow Garden gameplay and synced it up with an app, that would be awesome. Maybe even integrate both Chow Gardens from Sonic Adventure 1 and Sonic Adventure 2. And that's going to end my list of what I would like to be remade in the near future. There were a few more games on that list that I wanted to talk about, but they'll probably come up in another video. If you have any thoughts or opinions on what games you would like to be remade, please leave a comment below, and perhaps even like and subscribe to Dreaded Wave. This has been Talon. You all have a good one. Signing off.